So welcome to another episode of Rezonce. My name is Melody Lewis, and I'll be your host today. And we have our own guest, Crystal. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Go for it.
Hello, my name is Crystal Wahpepah of Wahpepah's Kitchen, Oakland, California.
Woo! Hey. This is a special episode. We are coming to you live. If I had one of those sounds, I'd be like, clap. Okay, so we've just shared a most recent episode of our of Rezonce, and we always start out with wrestling. So I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite wrestling, and use it in a sentence.
Well, my favorite, as which I've been saying since I've been young,
Use it in a sentence, go.
Hey, what am I doing?
That's universal, huh?
Yes.
You do all different tones?
Yes, it goes up, more high, then middle, then low. See?
I love it. Oh my gosh. So you own your own restaurant here in Oakland, California.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Wow. Well, we're in the Fruitvale location here in Oakland. It is, I guess you would say, urban indigenous restaurant. We have people come from all over, from sometimes a lot of people with suitcases. I find very interesting. I'm like, where you going?
Where are you going today, huh?
Yes.
Really? Oh, so what kind of food do you have?
We do Native American food, so it's Native American from all over the country, all the way down from the south up to from Peru to Mexico to North America, all over to Canada.
So I heard to the grapevine, I heard that you got nominated for an award recently?
Yeah, James Beard, Emerging Chef of James Beard Awards. Thank you. If people doesn't know what that is, it's like the Oscars of foods.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
Tell me what that felt like when you heard that you got nominated.
I said, I really did. Like in a part where it was a huge honor just to be having that space and creating that space for that next one. Mm-hmm. And it's creating the space and it's happening.
You know, so I'm from Arizona, mm-hmm. right? And I heard you mention Ramona Farms.
Mm-hmm.
They're from Arizona,
yes.
from the Gila River Indian Community. And there's actually one of our friends that got James Beard Award nomination mm-hmm. as well, Nephi Craig. So shout out to Chef.
Yes, I love Chef.
Yeah. And from the Apache Nations.
From White River.
So it's such, I guess, first I'll say congratulations, super proud of you, because mm-hmm. I think, you know, why this YouTube started and why this Rezonce started was really to give access to the viewers that representation exists. Mm-hmm. Right? They need to see that, you know, some of our people are in some of these positions, and mm-hmm. You doing the work, and you know, heard a little bit about your story earlier as well. Brought me to tears. I've been a crybaby all day today, but I love being in a space with, you know, with fellow Indigenous women. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience with women in your life and how they've impacted you today?
Oh, wow. I've been raised with many different women in my community, and that's including my grandmothers, my aunties, my mother. They're no longer here, but when your immediate family is gone, you kind of look back and wow, how blessed I've been becoming from strong women, like in the part where you better not do this. Yes. Or love who you are, because I identify myself as Indigenous Black. There is Black Indigenous and there's Indigenous Black. I was raised around Indigenous women, and also me identifying who I was, and me growing up, especially in my age group, where there wasn't really that many of me. And I was taught at a very young age from my aunt. I have one living aunt that's left. Her name's Carlita, and She said, you love yourself of who you are. This is who you are. And I come from a lineage of my grandmother was like that. My aunties are like that. And since I've been raised here in the Bay Area, especially when I think about, I have adopted aunties, that they instilled that in me to love me who I was. And this is who I am. So sometimes when I'm cooking, I always say, this is who I am on a plate. If you like it or not, this is who I am. This is how I raised. And I was taught to be proud of where I come from and who I am.
You know, when you say that, it's like your own self-expression is through your food. Huh?
Yes. I love to talk with the food. And when it comes to like with indigenous, like especially berries, I love putting my own version spin of berries, but berries remind me of times where maybe I struggled during my life, and I want to give that and pass it on to other women to let them know, like, you know, this is my little touch. I made it through. I survived. I'm here. This is where I learned how to forage when I was around 7. I was going out there picking berries, but I didn't know how life is a circle now and how it saved me. Now I'm serving it to people, and they talk to me.
So this is like, I look up to you. Like folks that have come, you know, before us that are doing the work allow for me to be where I'm at today, right? To do the work that I'm doing. And I think this last year, one of the biggest things that I learned, you said circular, right? Like everything's like circular. Because I didn't know that, right? I didn't realize my own personal identity until I was like in my 30s, right? It was later on in life where you're thinking I'm only supposed to do things in a very linear way because that's how I was taught, right? In school, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But my brain could not attach to it. Like something in me was not allowing for that to happen. And just thinking about this circular way of thinking of just like how we're evolving and, you know, appreciate that process and that growing and what you were saying about what you've learned about just loving yourself, right? This whole process of just evolution and evolving of ourselves and who we are and our identity was probably the most profound thing I've learned about last year. Because I thought that, you know, if I got here, I'm good to go. Like if I made it this far to this last part of my goal, I'm done.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're never done. It keeps going. So what of the knowledge that you received from, you know, from your matriarchs are incorporate into your business today?
Every day where it comes of knowing who I am as a person, especially as a Native person, a woman, a mother, a child, a friend, a cousin. Just kind of every day I wake up and I have that with me, and about standing up what you feel that's right. And this is where I've been passed down through generations of loving women. And I've been raised around a lot of strong women. Women where, you know, I was taught how to cook. I pretty much lived, people would call it like a hard life. But I try not to call it that. I look at it now, it was a lot from historical trauma, how it isn't within our DNA and how we're going to break that cycle. And that's where I think about, we just spoke of Women Man Killer. I think of my Aunt Teresa that's no longer here. And when I would cry, and she would say, "What are you crying for?" You know, and you know, at the same time, it's okay to cry, you know, and she said, it's okay to, you know, let it out, you know, and yeah, that's why they call me CB, because it stands for crybaby, but no. Yes, it does. But then I realized how emotional I was, and I'm still am, and it's okay. And this is what I hear all these little when it comes to strong women of giving me advice. It's always love who you are. If you make mistakes, it's okay. Get back up. Do it again. Easier said than done. But that's why I told people, you go through this journey, you're in that journey right now. Think about you're going to get out. But when you're out, what are you going to do?
Right.
You know? Yeah. So it's the same thing where When people see my career, this is who I am. It is my career, but it's not, but I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I have a responsible duty to my community, to my children, and I want them to be strong women. I have 3 daughters and different personalities, but at the same time, it comes with respect, loving yourself. Where are you at? What are you doing? If you can't relate to all these, find something you can relate to. And I say the same thing with my staff. We do native foodways within the restaurant. You don't have to talk to every customer and tell them where every food ingredient comes from. Find something you can identify with. Is this your tribe? Find, like for blue corn, for instance. Just find something you can identify with where you can pass that knowledge along, because sometimes I feel like, for me personally, I've been through it. You might not see it, but I've been through my rounds in life, and I feel like it's kind of like a waste of talent, a waste of me just sitting here and not sharing my knowledge, especially when it comes how I first started. And that's me on BART, me knowing when Native Health got paid every 2 weeks. I would go sell my tacos, and I look back like, wow, sometimes even when I catered this morning, I went to the restaurant and I still kind of trip out. I'm in my own restaurant. That's kind of surreal. But I still do the dishes. I still prep with the preps. I still do what I need to do. And is it hard? Sometimes it is. It all kind of depends. But no, it's something you really love. You just have to love what you do.
I mean, I think the thing that drives us, I think for everyone here, right, is that we are doing it for our families and our community. And that was all through and through.
Yes.
There. I'll just end. I want to say, do you have any advice or feedback for younger generations that you want to end with?
Oh, yes, definitely. I guess I'll end with this. I talk about love and just, be patient with yourself. We have our ups and our downs, and it's okay if you're down. That's where your learning comes from. I still, to this day, I learn a lot about myself, but just be patient with yourself and focus on something. And I always tell the younger generation this: find something where you're happy. If that's beading, if that's doing hair, maybe doing makeup, or whatever you like to do, reading. When you're going through that time, put yourself into that and beauty comes out.
Well, I'm going to end on that note. So I'm going to close this out and then we'll turn it over for Q&A. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning in to another episode of Rezonce. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Any questions?
What was the final? Wow. I felt it. I felt if I didn't do it now, I would never do it. And it just so happens I felt it during COVID time, so you really had to kind of step back and, kind of ask yourself, am I freaking nuts? But I felt it. There's something I can't explain, but I felt it right here. And right when the opportunity came about, wow. I just said, okay, I'm going to do this. And this is where it was my own finances, where I felt, when it comes to a lot of, yes, I wish I got a big, humongous grant. I wish I got this, got that. But I'm used to starting off small, then building myself up. And this is what the restaurant is. And so it just didn't come overnight. I was in the restaurant about 1.5 years before I opened. So it's a lot. Like for now, we've been open for 2 years as of October. And so it's a lot, and you just kind of gotta with catering, you roll with the punches. You kind of improvise here and there, and you got to multitask. You got to be good at multitasking, definitely. But that also comes from where I was hearing you talk about your emotions. You got to multitask on that one too, big time. Like, okay, it's not as bad as it seems. But when it comes to that, but baby steps. But no one, honestly, no one can ever prepare you when it comes to opening up your own business. They can say, you hear all this, but nah, you just got to follow your heart, and when it's right. When you have community, when you have people, like I'm doing things I've never thought, you can even make this up, not just in the celebrity part, I'm just me, or not in the part where, I'm learning a lot about myself. At the same time, we're filming, I'm working on a cookbook. I have the restaurant, I have the catering. At the same time, I'm doing my social justice, what I stand up for. And, I go back to Oklahoma to get grounded. It's a lot. It's a lot, but kind of, okay. I go with the flow anyway. You got to be with the go with the flow kind of person. You have to be. If not, it's not going to flow, Val. Right?
+1.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can talk, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, good one.
Question.
Toast. No.
Not lying.
No, because I only have a little bit of time. So lately it's been toast with different jams. Yeah, sometimes I really surprise myself because sometimes, I'll cook like, we cook up to 30 people to 1,900.
Ooh.
And so I really surprise myself. I still cook. I mean, like at home, So toast.
That kind of made me think about, we also asked this question about what's your favorite food or snack that you grew up in, and do you have any of those? Because mine was like potatoes with everything.
Oh, mine's
and in Mojave we call it bop, bopping, hamburger and hot dogs and whatever.
Oh, hamburger gravy?
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Yeah. I love gravy. Yeah. When I stop responding, no. I guess it depends what kind of tolerance. Like in the part where I'm very protective of my staff, I'm very protective of the restaurant, I'm protective of who I cater to. I just don't cater to anyone. I worked hard for that. And where I can remember going, I was just telling a young lady here, my first catering was for 400 people. And I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna open my own business. Nah. You can go from 400 to 2, but that's in one whole year, But my tolerance now is, because my catering request, it's kind of insane, but who requests. So I'm very picky about that and very protective, especially when it comes with my Native American food producers, because they believe in me and I'm honored to have these foods within the restaurant. So I'm protective of that and I'm just protective so that's where my tolerance is, because sometimes if you let social media or if you let certain things kind of get in the way, and I have my boundaries. I have a lot of boundaries when it comes to that, when it comes to self, wellness. I meditate a lot. I recommend everyone to get into that. Just to be grounded and say, okay, what's next? But yeah, that's my tolerance. It feels very good. Sometimes, well, it all kind of depends. But it feels very good because out of all the years I've been doing this, I would never been ready. I always tell people, like for the restaurant, I would have never been ready 3-4 years ago, but I'm ready now. And so when it comes to my branding, I'm also protective of that, just because of there's a lot of maneuvering parts of having your own business. Wow, it's a lot, but you won't know until you really go full throttle in it. The part where I'm learning, to be honest, is a lot where, I have an agent, I have a manager, but then, what do they know what I need? Things like that. You don't want to get yourself caught up into, certain things, do this, do that, but I make it known even to my team and my people. I still run things. Yeah. Yes. Oh, wow. I honestly, I don't learn new tribal cuisine. What you see on the menu is something I can identify with and that I grew up with. But when it comes for me meeting with other native food producers, I have to kind of fully understand it. And for instance, if it's a tribe, there was a Washoe tribe and there was something with their ingredient. And if I can't, I didn't identify with it or grew up. So everything you see within the restaurant, within the menu, this is who I am and what I can identify with. It just so happens, I just so happen to identify with a lot throughout the whole region. And when it comes to the wild rice or when it comes to our maple, things like that, this is something where I kind of represent in what I do and what I cook with is something where I grew up with. And this is where I feel like it would be not appropriate. There's a cultural appropriation, and that would be one. But this is something where I feel, for instance, we have certain ingredients. We have black oak acorn, for instance. I grew up with acorn, but when it comes to a certain protocol, when it comes to our foods, this is something where I'm very careful, and I really, it has to be within the community and within those tribal to say it's okay. And this is where somebody asked me where I'm protective. I represent that because I am a part of the Indigenous food sovereignty, and I just don't I never heard of this, but I may use it. No, I'm not like that. So I kind of intertwine my journey when it comes to food and what I grew up with. And so that's what you see on the menu. Mm. Well, from my experience, because I still get that when you have that feeling, it could be a good thing and a bad thing. So from my experience, maybe you shouldn't, but then maybe you should. So I kind of left you at the same spot. It's all, it's true, and if you feel like you need to jump, or if you do, you feel like you need a push, yeah. Yeah, you can't go back into the past. You just got to, especially being an entrepreneur and all business owners, I'm going to tell you this right now. You have to look ahead on everything. I look ahead, what's ahead in 2 years, would have, could have, should have, but you have to look ahead. You gotta see the future. Don't look back from your mistakes. When you look back, I see a lot of mistakes I made, but I'll never do them again. And if you do them again, that's where you have to reevaluate yourself. But I say, jump. Want me to push you? Yeah.
We got one in the back.
Oh, wow. Well, when I first started, I was like 7, and I always knew I wanted to do this. And I would cook, but I think of my Uncle Bill Wahpepah, and also Carol. And if you guys know Carol, she's always, I traveled a lot during when we were young, to the res, to Oklahoma, all over. And they were the ones that actually, when I was young, I would cook because that was my to make me feel happy when I was a child. And so they would let me cook. And when, at the same time, there was Sarah Poncho that was here. They would let me cook in the kitchen without yelling at me and without telling me to leave and go. So I think of that. They're one of my huge supporters because they allowed me to be who I was. They allowed me to be, I'm a cook, I'm a chef, I'm an artist, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also an activist. So they let me become all these in one. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I'm a woman.
All right. So I think that's all. Thank you so much.
You.
This has been so much fun. Thank you guys for asking the questions, and we'll go on to our next segment. Thank you.
Thank you.
So proud of you. Okay.
Yeah.